Everybody will get started here in just a second. Give everybody a chance to some more people getting logged in tonight. Hey, everybody, we'll get started here in just a second. Just giving everybody last minute chance to get logged in here before we dive into the content. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you all join us live here tonight on Note Night in America. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Note Night in America. Glad to have you all joining us. We have people join us from all across the country, and honored to be spending Monday evening with you as we dive into tonight's topic about breaking down note tapes. Really kind of spend more time on the upfront due diligence side. I know a lot of people aren't getting listen, or they're looking to get listen, and they get excited. Don't get me wrong. It is really exciting to get a listing of notes. Very exciting, but it can also be very stressful. People are like, what the heck am I looking at? And I've had several conference calls and Zoom meetings over the last couple of days with investors like, hey, I got something in, but I don't know what the heck I got. And so tonight, I thought we would dive into a little bit of that, share some of the ways that we do upfront due diligence, how we break down a tape. And I'm going to actually go through a real live tape that's in the works right now with you guys tonight, so you can kind of see what's going on. You can ask questions that are relevant. And then you can also really kind of get an idea, okay, this isn't as difficult as it can be. Because I've seen people literally have breakdowns. I've seen realtors that like, oh my God, there's a deal for everybody here, and literally break down crying because they don't know where to begin. We'll go through that in a little bit. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. If this is your first time to Note Night in America, hey, welcome. We're glad to have you guys here. We do these just about every Monday night for the most part, unless there's a holiday or something's gone on where I'm just exhausted from either travel or teach or stuff like that. But they are recorded. I do see the red light, and you can always catch the replays at a variety of places. We do live stream these to social media. We're doing some new software tonight with Restream, so it should be broadcasting live to Facebook and to YouTube simultaneously tonight, along with Periscope as well. If you'd like to catch a hold of all the replays or catch a replay to make the note, you can go to weclosenotes.tv, and that'll take you directly to our YouTube channel. I think over 2,000 videos on there, podcast episodes, webinars, just a great resource for a lot of people out there. And thank you for those that keep making comments that they love the content. We'll keep cranking it out for you guys out there. But while you're there, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you're alerted of new videos we uploaded, or also special events are going on the community page at YouTube. But like I said, love to have you guys there. Love to hit 4,000 subscribers for the year. Is that we're about 250 short of that, just under that. But if you're watching this for the first time, click the subscribe button and you'll be able to watch all our good stuff there on a regular basis. And also, while we're there, check out our different podcasts. Now, we do take this episode, No Night in America, and we do have its own podcast, which we're excited about there. We just hit a download mark for that podcast. And, of course, we've got the 50 Megawatt Blowtorch podcast, the Note Closer Show. You can always find our blogs, articles. If you like to read versus listen, or you like to watch versus listening or reading, you always go to weclosenotes.com and check out our blogs for the different podcasts, whether it's No Night in America or the Note Closer Show. And just like I said, blessed to be here tonight. Hope everybody out there is doing well, staying safe, staying mentally sound. I know it can be a little challenging when you're at home and with everything going on in the country right now, all the divides. Well, I'm glad to bring most of you guys together here tonight. I know you're in a safe spot with everybody that's out here. So always glad to see you guys out there. Once again, our podcasts have reached over 30 million listeners. really blows me away. We'll probably hit 35 to close to 37 at the end of this month as well, too. So it's kind of crazy. But a little bit of announcement. This last weekend, we had our one-day kind of Cliff Notes version. But this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have our next virtual note buying workshop. Yes, cost is $5.99. That includes you plus a partner or spouse. And you can get registered by going to notebuyingfordummies.com. And like I said, it's this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're tweaking it up. I've actually been working on a new manual for it with some new things for you guys to be able to take a look at. Now, what we're covering in the virtual workshop is the 3 days. Friday is all about finding notes and contacting asset managers, what to say, what not to say, scripts, email blasts, LinkedIn, how do you find deals? Literally at the end of the first day, you walk out with a Rolodex of probably about 3,000 plus asset managers and different contacts for you. Saturday is all about raising capital, marketing your deals. We'll talk about how to find investors in different cities out there, how to contact. We'll have some sample letters that we use, email blasts and stuff like that to IRA investors all across the country. Sunday is about exit strategies and due diligence. We'll spend a lot of time going through the 10 different exit strategies. We'll talk a bit more in depth about due diligence on deals. Tonight is just meant to be kind of you won't be everything. We'll go a lot more intense on Sunday out there. We'll run each day basically from about 9 to 5, take an hour lunch break on Friday, Saturday. Sunday might be a little bit shorter. We might work all the way straight through. Depends on where we're at come Sunday morning. But if you just sign up for that, replays are included. We've also thrown in 4 week of coaching calls included as well. Last Wednesday night, we had our first coaching call. So you may be seeing some people posting their goals to Note Nation, seeing a couple of comments about that. I'm excited because this week will be week number 2. Those calls are recorded. So if you're late to the party, don't worry about it. You can jump on there, work on getting your homework done, and still competing in the competition as well, which will run for another at least 2 weeks after the virtual workshop. So we still got a little while to go if you haven't missed it. You haven't missed out on anything. If you get signed up for the virtual workshop, you get the coaching calls included there for you. We'll also throw in 3 times of us calling banks for September, October, November. Our next calling banks blitz will be next Thursday. Not this week, but the Thursday after the workshop. Those are usually about $60 a piece. And then you'll also get another bonus. You'll get a ticket to the Get Fundable online boot camp with Merrill Chandler and Get Fundable. That's normally a $97 ticket. That's actually the dates are wrong on that. It should be October 2nd and 3rd. It's a Friday, Saturday. I include the wrong dates on there. And then you also get a ticket to the Magnifier Wealth Summit, which is taking place in Denver now. They just changed it from San Diego to Denver that same weekend, as well as a $399 ticket. You got to pay, obviously, room and board. But that's additional, $500, $600, $700 in bonuses out there. And then we'll also throw in 500 IRA investors with 150K or more in the county of your choice as well if you're signed up there. So we're pretty stoked about that. Get that too. So go to notebuyingfordummies.com where we'll show you how to find the deals. We'll actually give you some investors and we'll show you how to break it all down. So for $5.99, guys, well worth the price of admission for us to go through the nuts and bolts. This is our major training. I think we're going to be adding a couple hours to it. So it's going to usually on Sunday, we wrap about 2 or 3. We may still be able to squeeze that in, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go to 5 o'clock each day. So anyway, if there are any questions about that, you can actually go to notebuyingfordummies.com and get signed up tonight there for you. And we'll get links out to you and the replay to the homework and you can get rock and roll. But anyway, going back into breaking down note tapes. This is one thing, like I said before, people kind of struggle with. And it comes from a couple things. And it's okay to struggle. Nobody, I think, understands note deals when you get taping, like what the heck, because it can be very kind of, what am I looking at? Okay. Yay, I got something. But what the heck do I do with it now? Okay. And it only comes, you get good at breaking down assets and breaking down note tapes by taking and doing practice. So I broke down thousands of assets. And here's tonight's kind of thing. Where do I start? Well, one of the great things, I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit for you. We've got a great 1-page due diligence kind of upfront cheat sheet for you guys that we provide. We also have a long due diligence cheat sheet. We're not going to go through all that tonight, but those are included in the virtual workshop. So here's the thing. When you're out contacting asset managers or you get reaching out and people say they got note deals and they send you a spreadsheet or as we call it in the industry, a tape, T-A-P-E. All right. They send you a spreadsheet, Excel, CSV, whatever. The number one rule before you even look at the tape, the number one rule is you always ask pricing expectations. okay? What do they want for it? Because if they want par on that stuff, it's not worth looking at. They want 95 cents on the dollar for non-performing assets. It's not worth looking at, okay? So always, always, always ask pricing expectations. Now, if they won't give you clear pricing expectations, a minimum or a maximum, or they'll tell you rough, market price or highest and best, okay, that's fine. We'll dive into it and work our way through it, okay? But you always, always, always ask pricing expectations, because if you call me and say, hey, Scott, I want to work on a deal, the first thing I'm going to come back to you, whether it's residential or commercial, is, okay, what's the pricing expectations? If you call me and you don't know price expectations, it's not worth your time or my time. Also, you want to be direct to the bank. So if you're from a daisy chain, don't call me, all right? Do not call me. Do not waste your time doing with a daisy chain, because it's not going to be worth the time. But be direct. That's direct to the source, whoever the seller is, and then always ask pricing expectations, because if the pricing is ridiculous, then it's not worth the time. Like, we spent time, me and a couple coaches did this last week. We made some offers. We're told 50, 60 cents on the dollar. The bank ended up selling it at 80 cents on the dollar for non-performing. We just kind of chuckled. Don't know where they got the money, whoever the buyer was, but they were paid. But also, that's a big thing. Ask bidding instructions. When are they due? When do I need to have bids in? What's the timing for this? Do I have 2 days or do I have 2 weeks? Do I have to buy the whole thing, or can I just give you loan level pricing? Now, loan level pricing means if you're going to bid on 20 assets, you got to give the individual bids on the lineup. You can't say, oh, I want 200 grand for all 10 of these, and not give them individual bids. Always got to do loan level pricing. That's another big thing as well. Bidding instructions. Do I need to submit in with a spreadsheet? Who do I need to send it to directly? If I've got some information that falls on the asset that reduces the value, do I need to include that, or are you just basically highest and best, and I got to submit in a spreadsheet and you're going to pick the highest and best? So always ask bidding instructions, especially if it's like, oh yeah, we need to have bids in by Monday, and it's now at 7:00 at night. That's not a good thing. Okay, we've had that happen sometimes. Like, oh, it's Friday. I'll give you till Monday to get bids in. Always know that, because that comes in very valuable. Can we cherry pick? Is there a minimum amount of trade amount? Do we have to fund at least $100,000 to avoid any fees? I know some funds, they don't want to deal with a trade unless it's on 100 grand, and they're going to charge you $1,000 extra. There's a lot of things to involve. Not really a lot of things, but what are bidding instructions? What's the timing? Any specifics about the deal? Okay. Another thing is also asking motivation. What are they looking to do? Are they looking to move this quick? Are they don't really want to budge? Do they are looking to raise capital to close on something at a specific time for this capital to come in to fund by? So I always ask that. So as you get to the end of the year here, we go in the fourth quarter, these are very important things. Do we need to close by year end? Do we need to close by month end? All right. Because if we don't close by year end, that may cancel the bid. Or do we have to fund on a specific amount by year end? I think you get what I'm saying. Any questions so far about that? Everybody that's out there. Good to see you all, Robert, Ryan, Wayne, Sharon, Ken, Lan, Mark, Matrice, everybody, Aaron, Jerry, Angel, Arthur, David. Good to see all you guys out there tonight. Thanks for joining me here. If you're watching online on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to give me a thumbs up on there as well. We'll try to get to those questions if we can for you tonight. But most of the time, we're going to be doing it here in Note Night in America. If you are watching this on Facebook or Periscope or YouTube, and you want to join in the conversation, you always go to NoteNightInAmerica.com. That should allow you to register for the webinar tonight. Anyway, also another thing too is due diligence docs. Is the due diligence already in like a Dropbox file folder with BPOs, title, collateral, payment history, if it is available already? Because a lot of times sellers, if they put everything together and they want you to get highest and best, they should probably provide the stuff. You would think so, but some don't. Some won't provide due diligence docs until accepted offers, and that's okay. That's fine. I'll try to do as much as I can on the front end to help it. But tonight's scenario is be like, hey, that the seller has not provided BPO, title, collateral, payment history, or anything for the most part. Okay, or servicing notes, I should say, because the payment history is actually in here. And the rest, here it is. It's going to depend on you, what your business model is when you're looking at these assets. Are you looking for just single family homes? Are you looking for duplex? Are you okay with mobile homes? All right. What states are you buying in, or what cities? Where is it located? Is it in the city somewhere, or is it rural? Can we find photos online? Can Google Maps map it okay? Or is it kind of remote that we can't actually see anything online? Okay. And that's where you start slicing and dicing as best you can. Are you looking for performing notes? Or are you looking for non-performing notes? What's your money going to cost you? Are you using your own funds? So you can go with a little bit different ROI based on the sales price. Or if you're using other people's money, do you need to have a higher ROI so that you can pay your investors a good return? All right. So looking at what your portfolio is looking at. Okay. And also I get into performing and non-performing. It also depends. Also, it's performing truly a performing note where it's 6 or 12 months, or is it 1 month straight? Okay. So there's some variety on it. Okay. Are you looking for assets of minimum value? Like you want to stay above 50 grand, or do you want to stay above like 25,000 UPB or 50,000? Those are things that come into mind that you can slice and dice. Like I'll get rid of low UPBs. What does UPB stand for? Unpaid principal balance. Really anything below 25, it's really not worth, really below 20 for the most part. I've got some deals that are on that lower UPB side, but the borrowers are paying really nice, or it's a rental property. We've taken the property back, or the tenant is, the borrower's turned into a tenant basically. Same thing. Minimum asset value. Some people are like, I don't want to be anything below $50,000 value because of issues and repairs and stuff like that. So yes, it all depends on there is no right or wrong for these things. That is solely up to you. But here's the situation. You can't say, yes, you can say to the sellers, hey, I buy in most major markets. But we all know that's BS. You're not going to buy in most major markets. You're going to buy in a few that you really love. Now, my major markets have changed. Obviously, here in Texas, I love Texas, but I haven't bought in Texas in a while because the market's been overpriced and a lack of inventory. So I've bought a lot in Ohio, Michigan, Florida, the Carolinas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois. Those are really my favorite markets. I'll look at other cities, other states, and that's fine. You just have to know what you're looking at, and that's how you slice and dice. Also, you got to look at your ROI. Are you looking for a minimum threshold on your return on investment? And obviously, that'll vary between performing and non-performing in the price point. Okay. Now, any questions about that before moving on? And I encourage any type of question. Obviously, part of what we're doing, and I think those that are going through the homework will understand that we're trying to clarify down what your focus is. Because the more focused you can be in, the better vision you're going to see. The more tunnel vision on specific assets that you're looking at, the easier it'll be that you won't get distracted by every shiny dog or every shiny squirrel or shiny object syndrome. Squirrels, look, there's a shiny squirrel. All right. So the more focused you can be, the more, not too small, like I only buy in this one zip code in this one town. That's not what I'm talking about. I always tell people pick 3 to 5 states and then focus on the major cities or the major areas in those cities. And then also remove rural stuff. Like I said, if it's a rural property or ranch road or FM, rural route 1, that's probably too small. FM 1069, it's probably too small to get. And you're going to look at the size of the cities and the locations and things like that. That's all comes in your states and cities as well for you. Okay. All right, moving on. So once you've cut down the list, once you've removed kind of, okay, it tells me the asset class type, I'm going to remove all the mobile homes. Okay. I'm going to go in and remove the states that I don't want to buy in. Okay. The counties I don't want to buy. Like you guys, if you've been on here before, you know, I do not like Cook County. Not a fan of Chicago because of how corrupt it is, but I will get other things in Illinois. Also, you know, that I usually delete everything out of New York and New Jersey just because of the faster or the longer foreclosure time frames. Same thing when I look at Kentucky. If I see anything in Kentucky, I usually remove it because Kentucky has some strict licensing requirements for you to have a $1 million bond. Okay. So one of the things, once I've cut down the list, then what I'll do is take that full list, addresses, city, state, address, city, state, zip, other information that I find relevant, maybe the borrower's name, maybe the UPB, maybe the P&I, maybe the value, and I'll drop it into batchgeo.com. Now, if you don't know what BatchGeo is it's a free website, and it can map up to 250 addresses for you and then sends you a custom link that you can take a look at and really kind of shrink down to the asset and pull it up and give a bit of a national look to it. We'll dive into that in a second. One of the most valuable tools that we use when you're looking at assets in other cities. Okay. Like I said, pull street views for marketing. When you map it, we'll go down and take a look at and try to get the Google Maps, and then we'll do a snapshot of the screen to save it for marketing and use that in marketing on social media and raising capital across the board. And that's the biggest thing is when you see a good looking picture of a property and working through it. And yes, you may not have it under contract yet. You're working to make bids. Okay. The idea here is to market before you have to get under the gun for funding. Okay. So like I'm a big fan of say, hey, I'm working on a portfolio of 190 assets. Here's 4 or 5 properties that we're looking at. Hey, I'm looking at it narrowed down. I made offers on 12 assets. Here's kind of the photos. The idea here is to start getting people to recognize what we're doing. Let me give you an example. I've had more people opt in of a couple different images recently on different properties we posted, comments or things like that, because of the image. I've said similar things about any image and nobody reviews that. So that's one of the biggest things. If you're commenting or posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, even YouTube in a community channel or Twitter, always try to put a photo of some sort, whether you attach it or video. That's always going to draw more eyes than if you just post the wording. Okay. It's weird, but it is truth there. Okay. Now, once you've got it down, shrunk it down to your map, then you can take the list over to Note Pros. I'm a big fan of Note Pros. JD Bates does a great job with this. This will help you with your online values. We might get to this tonight. We might not a little bit, but I'll pull AVM, automated valuation model. That's online values. It's not true values. That's not a CMA, comparative market analysis. It's also not a BPO. But on the front end, with what we're doing due diligence, I'm not going to spend a lot of time chasing realtors to pull values on the front end because I don't know if my bids are going to be accepted yet. Okay. I don't know if my bids will be accepted yet. So I'm going to literally, as I say, throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. Okay. Now, if I come back and bid, if they give me pricing and I come back pretty close to that, great, I'll submit bids in there and then we'll wait and see how soon will I get answers back. Going to be a day? Will it be a week? Okay. Now, the great thing about Note Pros is it will pull a lot of information for you. The most recent sold, the high, the low. They'll give you a link to realtor.com for realtors that are looking for listings in that space that you can have. Give you tax values, give you rent rates, bed, bath, square footage, year built. A lot of great stuff that you can literally drop the spreadsheet, the address, the city, state into Note Pros. NotePros.com, very, very cheap. It'll pull that information. Then you can copy paste that into your spreadsheet, and then you're going from there. It literally saves you hours. I used to pay up to $4 to $8 per asset, per line item for somebody to go pull that information from me on VA. Now you can literally pay like $29 a month and have it done in minutes, as much as you can to. Okay. Now, once the same thing is once you start pulling these numbers and you start seeing, okay, the UPB is this, the AVM, the rough market value is this, it can allow you to cut down a little bit more. Oh, I want to make sure rent rate's above $500 across the board. That's a little thing that we do. Anything below $500 a month of rent rates, even though we're not renting the property, it's usually a sign that it's almost like a two-gun neighborhood you don't want to waste your time with, okay? Same thing also looking at the principal and interest payments. You probably want the P&I payment to be above a specific amount, like $250 or more a month, so that your servicing costs don't eat into your P&I. So you're making, last thing you want is a $100 P&I payment, and you're losing half of it because of a servicing costs. Okay, so cut down to the preferred assets, and then it all comes to submitting your bulk bids. Literally, it's taking the spreadsheet, you've cleaned it up. Maybe you've shrunk it down from 190 down to 12. Or 33 down to 5, and literally just sending in taking your spreadsheet, saving your due diligence, your kind of high, low ROIs, which we'll show you, and then saving it just your bids, taking all your math. Don't show them that you want to make 35% ROI in this asset. That's why you're bidding 12 grand. You want to remove that, but then just send in the bids. Hey, these are the 2 or these are the 5 that I'm looking to bid on. Highlight your bids so it's very obvious where it is, and that's it. Okay. Now, questions about that before moving on? This all makes sense so far? Ask your questions. Okay, we got a couple questions. Hello, Dickie Baldwin. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you, buddy. Richard asks, what is a CFPB? CFPB is Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That's the government agency that reviews, making sure that your fair practices when it comes to being a debt collector. In this case, when you're buying notes, that's what is kind of managed. So if you can't be calling Borrow at 6 o'clock in the morning or at 9 o'clock at night, sending over, Grizzly Adams a pound of the door to collect. Okay. Yeah. David asks, are you saying that you market for money before getting deals? No, that's not what I'm saying, David. Well, it is technically a little bit, because the thing is, if I have 190 assets on a tape and I'm bidding on 100, I know I'm going to get some deals out of it. So yeah, I will start priming the pump. I won't list the city state, or I won't list the address, but I can show the city state if it's a good property. It's kind of like walking in to a restaurant and you're not hungry, but then suddenly you walk in and you smell the food and you get ravenous. Maybe you guys have gone to Johnny Carino's Italian restaurant, Italian kitchen. And my sister used to work there when she was going through college. And before every shift and several times for the shift, they would walk around with grilled peppers and onions. And the smell is just amazing. Okay. Peppers and onions and garlic. And you're like, ooh, I want that. What's that? What's that sizzle on the heat? And that's actually Mexican food is marketing 101, when they put the ice on the hot skillet to get the steam going. That's all just show. That's like walking through the club with a champagne and fireworks going off the tip. Okay. I'm in the club. Okay. But that's what it is. It's we're trying to get our network interested in what we're doing. Hey, here's what he's working on. Oh, that's a good looking photo. OTSC. Oh, that's so cute. Or here's some of the great things we do. Now, if I make 100 offers and I end up with 20, I still got 20 I'm working on. But I want to get my audience, my network ready to prime the pump. Because remember, 80% of sales comes after the 5th contact. If you wait around till you actually have final pricing and then you only got a few days to close your deals, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You want to start getting your network, your followers, the people in your database interested in what you're doing, so you can have some of these conversations before you finalize it and get rocking and rolling. Okay, does that make sense, David? Notepros.com is blocked. I don't know why that was. I was just on there recently. Shouldn't be. Notepros.com. Just in there earlier. Great. 1 second. Let's take a look. What do you say, huh? Yeah, notepros.com. There it is. I'll share my screen with you one more time. Whoops. There you go. If you go to notepros.com, JD offers a really great thing here. Get instant access for NotePros today. Yeah, should allow you to get in there. Yeah. Just do the $1 3-day special trial there. It's $27 a month after that, but well worth it to copy paste it. So I don't know why it's blocked for you, Ryan. Yeah, should work fine for you. All right, cool. Let's back into the PowerPoint here. Okay, so once you've kind of cut down that list, let's go back to this again. Map the spreadsheet, start looking at assets, start looking. You also will map it to see if there's any ugly assets. If it looks like a piece of fertilizer online, it's a relatively recent photo, it probably looks like crap in person. Now, here's the thing. If it's an old photo, and the loan that you're looking at has been originated a couple years after that crappy photo, somebody may have moved in and fixed the property up and done some work to it. So that's why you always look at the street view date of the picture. When was this picture taken? Is it relatively recent or is it relatively old? Either way, before you get to closing, you're still going to send somebody out, a realtor, pay for BPO, have a friend, have your cousin Bubba show up and take some photos of the property. Okay. But anyway, moving on. Our performing CFD. Now here's a tape, an actual tape that's in the works. All right. And I'm actually going to share the spreadsheet, but I'm not sharing it out via, it's going to be here, but I've already kind of cleaned up a little bit of stuff. I promised the investor on this, one of our coaching students who's working on this tape. She's been working on it for a little while. I will not share the addresses in bulk where you can take a screenshot of that. I'm protecting her deal that she's working through. I know she's been working on this for a while, and I'm excited for her on this deal, but I thought it would be a great tape for you guys to work at. Now, if you are looking to buy some deals or to fund some deals, send me a message, send me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com. I can put you in touch and see if it's something that would be offensive. I'm not buying these assets. I'm looking at, and for due diligence purposes, we're going through the upfront stuff there. I'm not involved in the trade. If you do end up buying something from her, you did up funding a deal, I would get back a referral fee. So just so you know, I'm not buying these assets. I would, but she's already working on the big thing out there. So what she has told us is the seller, this is a bunch of contract for deeds, lower valued homes that have been originated by a private seller. The seller's out of California, but these assets are all across the country. They've been performing. And our investor would be willing to sell some of these at roughly 60% of UPB. She's getting them a little bit below that in the hopes of raising capital to take the whole list down. She'd be willing to sell some of these at 60% of UPB. Now, the beautiful thing is some of these notes have 4+ years of seasoning. They are being handled by a loan servicer. They do have a, the seller is actually created a servicing company and has software to handle all the collections. So it's actually very, very, really done well. Some of the assets have been REOs as borrowers have walked away, and then he basically turned around and put new people on the property. But for the majority of these have been highly seasoned in a lot of cases. I have sanitized the address in the spreadsheet to protect the investor. I've sanitized it to protect the innocent. Okay. But we've already pulled the batch geomap so you can kind of see how it breaks down, and we'll spend some time diving into that. Okay. Then we may end up disclosing a few addresses because when we do jump in the batch geo, it's going to pull up the individual. And I don't care. It's totally fine. But we're not going to release the whole tape of it. And like I said, if you are curious or maybe able to cherry pick or maybe potentially fund some of these deals and do carve out for your own portfolio. All right. Now, here's the overlying map. And what we did is batch geo. We dropped in the 100 some odd assets in there, and it mapped them. We put the address, the city, state, zip. We put in the value, the unpaid balance, the P&I payment. We didn't put the borrower's name in there, but batch geo gave us a evergreen map that we can dive into. And this is the overlay map of this. Okay. The different colors fall for a different of unpaid balance, different for the loan balances of some of these. Okay. But I want to give you a snapshot. Now, here's the thing. David asked, do I market for money beforehand? If you were working a tape and making a serious offer, this could be a great marketing piece. Hey, I'm working on 160 assets, and here's the map. If you invest in Minnesota, Kansas, Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Louisiana, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Tennessee, let's talk. I may have some deals that work for you. No addresses given away. You're gauging interest and you're trying to get your audience ready to rock and roll. Marketing at the same time you're doing your due diligence is just as equally important, ladies and gentlemen. It's just as equally important. Now, if you've got your own funds, your own private money, that's a different story. Okay, great. You don't have to market unless you don't want to. But trust me, everybody needs other people's money at some point to take some more deals down. Okay. So does this make sense so far before we pull up the spreadsheet and start diving into it? Questions from any of y'all before we dive into the spreadsheet or the batch geo map and start looking at stuff? Think it makes sense. Okay, here, Wayne. Thank you, sir. All right. Let me get out of this. We're looking good at time. Let me do a new share here. All right, so here is the spreadsheet. Okay. And I've hidden the borrower's name. They gave the borrower's name and the address and the loan number. I'm not going to share that with you. I've already pulled the map. Okay. Usually, here's the thing. When you get in a spreadsheet, if the address is removed, it's hidden and you can't find it or it's been sanitized, you want to reach back out and say, hey, please send me the unsanitized list. I can't pull values and other things off of a sanitized spreadsheet. Okay. The reason sellers will sanitize if they're sending it out to a few people is they don't want people to blast it out to their audience in an email blast and it go to Kingdom Come out there. That reduces the value of the asset. Okay. Now, one of the things you can see, we've got obviously city, state, okay, zip, county, the annual taxes due, the sales price. Let me do this. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better for your screen so you don't have to squint so much. Property, city, state, zip code, county, annual taxes, which is nice. The sales price that it sold for, okay? The down payment, oh, hang on a second here. I'm going to do that. I get here. Excuse me one second. I'm going to unfreeze because I got these panes frozen. Freeze panes, unfreeze panes. Okay, that's more like it. Freeze panes. There we go. All right, sales price, down payment, how much the borrower put down, the original balance. Okay. Now, as I said before, we could pick these up at 60% of UPB. So I went ahead and put a column in. If they give you pricing, go ahead and put a column in. Here's what 36% of UPB, 80% of UPB, whatever that number might be, throw it in there. And I did. I threw it in there. What I also did is, okay, let's take 12 months of principal and interest payments. So I'll get to that in a second. And then I figured the ROI, and I'll share with you how I found that out in just a second. So principal balance amount. Okay. Oops, I screwed up already, didn't I? I put the wrong thing in here. This is okay. I'll share this here in just a second for you. I screwed up there. Trust balance means in the escrow account, the trust account, maybe a little bit over taxes paid or a little bit insurance. The regular principal payment, PITI, the amount that's applied to PITI, the amount that's applied to the impound, okay? And apply to other, that $38 is probably a loan servicing fee, okay? When the loan was closed, basically when it was originated, the first payment date, and then the last payment date. Now, this spreadsheet is a couple months old as our investor's been working on it for the last 5 or 6 months, okay? So she's been working on it since April. So she just sent me the most recent one, which is April. So we're going to assume, based on what we see here, that it's basically been paying on that. Now, obviously, if you get a tape that's 6 months old and you make your bids and they send over a new tape to you with updated values or updated payments, and you see that payment stream has changed, here we change your bid, obviously, okay? But for shits and giggles tonight, we're going to say this is April, okay? You can see the term, LO, usually means a loan originated, probably brand new. It's probably a brand new note. 252, basically 252, 360 months when the loan matures. The note rate 9.9%, beds, baths, square foot, year built, debt ratio. So when they qualified the bar, they actually calculated debt ratio. The seller on this is an old mortgage banker, so he underwrote everything very, very well. Total income, all right, that's basically going to be total income from the borrower, the FICO scores that were pulled, repairs that were made, and the source of where they originally got the asset from: Fannie Mae, GMAC, MLS listing, Fannie pool. So basically the original seller back a few years ago, back about 8-9 years ago, bought a portfolio of about 400 REOs, and originated by putting people into contract for deeds. Okay, so you got a lot of great information there and seeing how things work out for it. Okay. So that's what people think. So I screwed up, as I said. I put off the wrong thing. So you have original balance that was originally financed, okay? Principal balance, okay? And I pulled it off of that. So my calculation, 60% of US UPB. So no, actually I did pull it right. Okay, I did do it right. Sorry. Did I pull it right? Hang on here. I'm looking here. Why is that number different? It should be an even number. Oh, yeah. Okay. I did pull it right. Okay. So then what I did is, going back here, I had a question. Repairs. Wayne, that would be the repairs made to the property when they originated the loan. What repairs they made to get the property up where they could sell it. That's what that is for, Wayne. Sometimes you'll see that on CFDs. You don't really see it on the loans with the notes from the banks, because the banks are financing repaired properties. You may see escrow balance, you may see reserves or advances where they've paid the taxes, or they paid to have the lawn mowed if the property is vacant for a little while, or paid to get water bills on. So repairs is what the seller put into repairs in the property to get it up to where they could sell it. Okay. So I took 12 months. What's the PITI? 12 months of their PI. 425 times 12 comes to 5,100. And since we got the numbers all the way down here, then I figured, okay, if I were to buy this at 60% of UPB, I would basically take the 12 months of payments, divide that into the 60%, and that would give me a rough ROI on this. This would give me a rough kind of return on my investment percentage, so that I can then kind of calculate that. You can see that kind of going down the board. So you see, since they're at 9.9 or 10% interest rate, you get a 60%, you get a 40% discount at 60%. Okay. Now I don't have current values in this stuff because I would pull that with Note Pros and drop it in here. And what we've done already, without putting it in here, I already looked at it, and most of the values are above where the principal balance is. What I looked at beforehand, I'm not going to go into Note Pros and pull that information for you because it would confuse you out, marrying it up. But on the front end side, here's what we're kind of doing and going through for you guys. All right. No, Sylvia, those costs aren't going into me. Those costs have already been paid. Those costs of repairs have already been paid by the seller. We're not worried about that. That's what he or she paid to get the property today to sell it at 48 or to 56. So I don't have to figure about those costs. Okay. Also on these, the taxes are good to know, but the taxes are paid by the borrower. Okay. PITI, taxes paid by the borrower, taxes, insurance, and services. So this is actually PITIS, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and servicing. Pity, okay? So the question is here. Question here from Buddy. I don't know. Brooding, picks, etc. is what I mean. I don't get what you mean, Sylvia. Sorry. Brooding. That doesn't make. I sorry. I can't read your mind. All right. These are occupied. Okay. This is another thing too. That's why I said these are performing notes. They're occupied with people in them. So you're not going to have to go in and do the repairs. Repairs are already done before they sold it. So you're looking at performing notes. Now, the nice thing, as we flip all the way back over here to the right-hand side, I hid this from you, is you have going back to January of 2016. So you have 4 years of payment history on this thing. Okay. Four years of payment history on these things. And where you see the NA stuff is they either didn't own it then or it was vacantness. And these they bought off the MLS or bought it as well. So he just has it as part of his whole portfolio. But you can see that some of these have been performing since January of 2016. So over 4 years of seasoning. That's a pretty good estimated amount of assets that are performing on a regular basis, okay? Some are 4, some are 3, some are 2, some are relatively new on things. Okay. So that's the beautiful thing. Now, this one here, like this one here, NA. First payment was April. Let's go as we're flipping over here. It's probably just purchased. Fannie pool. Okay. All right. So to narrow this down a little bit, to get to the guts and bolts, being able to cherry pick this, where should we go next? Obviously, we don't have property type on that, so that'll take a little while. If we don't have property type, single family, we know it's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and maybe a mixture. I don't want to go look at these individually, so let's take it to the next step. Where should we start slicing and dicing? No, Medlow, this is not. These don't need to be converted to mortgages when they are sold. They're contract for deeds. People are already paying on these. Okay, don't need to convert them to it. Don't have to be converted to mortgages all right now. They're all lower balance stuff. Okay. Boarding costs, servicing BPOs. Okay. All right. Sorry. Boarding costs, servicing BPOs. Yeah, you'll have some costs with that. Exactly. You got to figure that in here. But what we're trying to do is go through this initially on the front end to give you a rough basis on that. Okay. BPOs, here's the thing. If somebody's paying on time, that's what I'm trying to get at here. If somebody's paying on time for 4 years straight, and their balance is close to what AVM is and the property's taken care of, you don't need to order BPO. You don't need to pay $150 for a BPO. A CMA can work well as long as you put eyes on the property. Oh, it looks like it's pretty close to it. Great. You don't give a rat's ass what the inside. Somebody's paying on it for 4 years straight. Yeah, boarding costs. Okay, that's that other $38 as far as your monthly servicing costs. Now that's a little bit more expensive than a performing note. Actually, it's about the same if you look at it. Boarding costs. Yeah, I guess some boarding costs. I agree with that. But before we start worrying about all that stuff, let's slice it down to stuff you want to make bids on, everybody. Okay, you're all worried about the back end, and we haven't even gotten there yet, Sylvia. Okay. Property inspection reports, yes, that would be a good one to look at. And Mr. Dickie Baldwin has realtors all across the country for Baldwin Advisory Group to help out with that. But you're getting ahead of the situation yet. We don't need that because we don't know if our bids are accepted yet. You're putting the cart before the horse, everybody. The horse goes first. The deal works that way. All right. You worry about the deal before you worry about things down the road. We're at C. Some of you are trying to jump to Z. Okay. We're going rough end side here. Just play with me, because the guy has already dictated he's not really willing to go below 60%, or their investor, they're not going to go below 60% of UPB. Okay. So let's make some bids and we'll worry about our ROIs being good. But we got how many on here? Boom. There's 157 right now. Okay. Are you going to buy all 157? Well, you could if you wanted to. Let's sum it up. Yep. There we go. $4.5 million. Okay. How many want to write a check for that right now? If you got them all and they all performed, 836,000 divided by 5 million. What's that come to? Pretty good ROI, right? Pretty good ROI is equal to that divided by that to begin with. That's a 19% cash and cash return on the front end there for you, if that's the case. Okay. But I don't want to buy stuff in some of these states. Okay. I don't want to buy some stuff. I don't want to have stuff across the country. If I don't know where the hell the city's at, I sure as hell don't want to waste my time. If I could cherry pick, I want to cherry pick something that makes sense for me. Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the stuff. Let's get rid of some of the states we don't want to buy in. All right. Property state. All right. First thing we want to get rid of, is there anything in New York or New Jersey? Nope. Didn't think so. Okay, great. Is there anything in Kentucky? Oh, yeah, there's some stuff in Kentucky here. Okay. Why do we not want Kentucky? Because, well, even though it's near Louisville, it's still the state in Louisville in Kentucky is pretty rough. Let's get rid of these. Okay. Got to have that $1 million bond. Not worth it. Okay. Thank you, Kentucky. See you later. Okay. Now let's look at, do I want anything in Iowa? Let's look here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to resort it by city state. Whoops, escape. Custom sort. My data has headers. I'm going to go to property state and then add level. Property city, A to Z. Now it should organize it a little bit better for us. Okay. Now let's get rid of some of this stuff here. So, all righty, Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, I got 3 there. Docena, Alabama. I don't have a clue where it's at. It is in Jefferson County. It might make sense. Nah, let's just get rid of it. If you don't recognize, get rid of it. Goodwater, Alabama. I don't know what. Jasper, Alabama. Mobile. Probably get hit, but we'll take a look at it. Okay. Boom. I'm going to delete it. Mobile, shorter, Alabama. Is that where people are short? Okay. Atlanta, Augusta. Okay. Culloden, I have no idea where that is. Griffin, Livonia. I know where Livonia. Macon. Okay. I'm just going to delete stuff off here that I don't know. I know Milledgeville. I don't know where that is. Unadilla, don't know. Terrell, Iowa. No, we're just going to get rid of Iowa. All right. Sorry, Hawkeyes. Here's the thing about Illinois. I'm going to look at the counties. I'll look at some of this stuff here because I got friends all over. Cahokia is too. Why is it Cahokia? Oh. Canton, Illinois, Catlin, Decatur. I don't know some of these. I'm just going to get rid of them. Joliet, I know where that is, and there's 2 right next to each other. So if you see 2 or 3 in the same area, go ahead and keep it because it helps in your due diligence. You might be able to pick up 2 or 3 in an area and have one realtor pull some numbers for you. Mount Carmel, I know where that's at. New Boston, I don't know where the heck that is. Pekin, Illinois, I don't know. Peoria, okay, great. Rock Island, I'm getting rid of. That's a small ass area, unless I have somebody there that I know. Richard, the reason I'm getting rid of towns you do not know, because if they're small ass towns, they have lack of resources. Less people to go in there if I have to foreclose, less realtors, less rehab crews. I want to streamline my note business so I'm not having these outskirt one-off podunk towns. I want to stay above a specific level. If I don't know where the heck the cities are, I probably don't want to waste my time on them. If you're a performing note investor, you don't have the time if it goes non-performing to go to trap your butt out to Rock Island trying to find a realtor to help you out there. Trust me. You want to stick in your larger metroplexes. You want larger cities, areas you recognize, okay? No resources. Yeah, there's not no resources, just a little amount of resources, okay? You also want to hopefully find local investors in the area by looking at it, okay? So same thing, Sonneton, Sheldon, I don't know where that's at, Spring Valley, Springfield, Illinois, there's only one there now. Windsor, Woodhill, Anderson. Oh, we're getting into Indiana now. Indiana's a good state. All right, Anderson, I know that is. Columbia, no. East Chicago, no. It's a rougher area. It's like Elnora. I know where Elwood is because I've got a couple in Elwood. Evansville, there's a nice real estate investment club in Evansville. Fort Wayne, okay, great. Garrett, I don't really want anything in Gary, Indiana right now. Kind of rough. Huntington, Indiana. We'll leave it in there. The sales price is a little bit higher. So there's a Garrett one to call. Oh, that's well. Actually, you know what? We'll leave those in there. Garrett is in DeKalb County. Gary. Parts of Gary coming back strong. We can always remove it when we look at the crime map. Huntington, Indiana, Indianapolis, okay. Take me down to Kokomo. Get there faster if we take it slow. That's where we want to go. Okay, Lafayette, Indiana. Lake Station, I've actually got a couple asses in there. It's been a great area. Linton, okay. Marion, okay. Indiana. Muncie, got some stuff there. Newcastle, North Vernon. Peru, I don't like Peru. Peru is a smaller area, so we get rid of Peru. Princeton, Richmond, Indiana, we'll leave it at there. Whoops, sorry, here. There's 3 in an area. We might be able to pick up a bulk thing. Let's leave it there. Don't know where Selma, Indiana is. The wrong Selma. Oops. Shelbyville. South Bend. Go Irish. Worthington, Indiana. No, we'll get rid of that. I don't recognize the city. It's usually to Potwin, Kansas. I have no idea where that is. Okay. Kansas City, Kansas. Okay. Benton Harbor, Michigan. I know that area. Milaca, Minnesota. I don't know where that's at. Okay. I probably have relatives up there somewhere, but who knows? Missouri. Okay. Don't know it. Festus, I don't know the city. Greenfield, Missouri. Don't know it. Kansas City, Missouri. We'll leave that in there, those 3. Leadwood, Missouri. Poplar Bluff. I don't know. Sedalia. Don't know. I'm going to go and delete those. Gulfport, Mississippi. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Vicksburg. But Lumberton and Meridian, I'm going to get rid of. I would rather actually these assets be in Jackson, Mississippi. But Hattiesburg is where University of Southern Mississippi is at. Vicksburg's right off of I-10 or I-20. I'm okay with that. North Carolina. Coneto, I don't know where that is. Lenore is just north of Charlotte. Been through there quite a bit. Plymouth, North Carolina. I know that's at. And then we get into Ohio. Akron, Canton, Cincinnati, Dayton, Kenton, New Richmond, Niles, Seville. We'll get rid of some of these smaller ones I don't recognize. Toledo, Youngstown. Okay, great. Oklahoma, Holdenville, Oklahoma. No, don't know where that is. Muskogee. Okay. McKeesport, Pennsylvania. No, I'll leave the one in Pittsburgh. Williamson. Now, if you have a different story, like I'll give you an example. Say you got family all over South Carolina, or you live in Ohio, okay, and you just want to look at Ohio stuff. There you go. Get rid of everything else except for the states that you want to look at. I'm simply just going through kind of what I do on a regular basis. I could still carve out because we've only reduced roughly 60 assets off of this. Okay, so Denmark, Sumter. I'll leave Denmark in there. Olivia Springs. No, I'm gonna get rid of this. Memphis. Well, it's 60% of that. What's the current UPB on this thing? 13 grand. So we're gonna end up cutting it Memphis, Tennessee, because the UPB is so low. Okay. Get rid of the Floyd data, Texas. Don't know where that is. I'm gonna get rid of that. Wisconsin, I don't like too many expenses, in West Virginia, usually too remote. Okay. So once we've done that, ladies and gentlemen, any questions here? Okay. David asks, when you say that rural areas don't have resources, what do you mean? You mean no jobs, industry, no colleges? No, what I'm saying is here, guys, if the last thing you want to do is own a property in a small ass little town where there's only a few realtors or a smaller thing, people don't want to stay in small towns. People keep moving. That's not saying there isn't a realtor, but maybe a drive-by, or it may be out rural. People aren't going to go out of their time. It's a harder thing to get out there. So think about that, David. You live in Leander. Great. Now, would you buy something way the heck out in, I don't know, think about this, somewhere between here and Balcones off of Ranch Road somewhere? If it's rural, it's harder to get to. It's harder to take a look at, especially if it's a small little piece of property. Okay? So don't worry about that. David Stanley says, yes, he goes, a bunch of the well-known cities may have serious inner city areas that are problematic too. Yeah, that's why you still look at the crime report. Okay? There's no reason to sit here and worry about everything on the front end when we still don't know if our bids are going to be accepted. We've been told 60%. If they're accepted, then great. But the idea here is to be less confusive and get rid of everything that you don't want to take a look at. Free your mind. Get rid of the noise. Okay? Elaine Cohen says, I'm interested in Tennessee property. Good for you. Reach out to me directly. Okay? Scott at WeCloseNotes.com. I can pass you on. Okay? These are not properties. These are contract for deeds. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. There is borrowers in these properties. Okay? There are people that are living in the properties, paying on a monthly basis based on what we showed you. Okay? All right. Stick with me, everybody. All right? Just stick with me. All right. Now, remember, we've got our list narrowed down a little bit to 98. So we removed 62 of those, or 97, 63. Okay? Or right at 60. So we're got rid of the chunk. Now I'd like to go back in here and let's look at where they are UPPs. We got low balance UPP. So I'm going to re-rank it, re-custom sort it. Delete. All right. My data has that. I'm going to add a level. We're going to go by UPB, principal balance, and we're going to do smallest to largest. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So principal balance 32. We're just going down here. Boom. 32 is the lowest. All the way up to 66. Okay. What's this one? Oh, that's the total amount at the bottom. Okay. All right. So now you can see somewhere between a 22%. Is it 18 is the least amount of ROI? 18, 22, 17. Okay. 18. Yeah, should be 17 to 18 should be the lowest amount, and the ROI is a little bit higher than that. Okay, so now you've got a bit of an idea here. 15%. Okay, we probably want to get rid of those. Let's just go ahead. Where's this one located at? 12 months P&I, 34%. This one is in Mobile, Alabama. Now, let's say that you're looking at an area that's been hit like Pensacola, Mobile, Louisiana. You could jump on. If you're buying the notes or own a note, you could jump on BAG, Baldwin Advisory Group, and reach out a disaster report, a property inspection report to there. It's been hit hard. Like if you're own something in South Texas on Palacios, okay? That's south of Houston's on the coast, right where the Colorado River comes out in the Gulf of Mexico. But that's where basically the eye of the most recent was it Beta? Alpha, Beta? Yeah. Storm just went through. You want to do something out that neck of the woods to take a look at. So the idea here, everybody, is now that you've got this stuff, okay, great. You've kind of narrowed it down. Now, what would be the next step? Let's see if you guys can figure this out. Just throwing it out there. You've gotten rid of the properties and the cities you don't want. How do you want to classify the performing notes to pursue? I know, confusing. It's crickets now. What do I do next? I don't know. You're the one teaching the webinar, Scott. Why are you asking us? So I would go back and look at seasoning. I would look at how many months, and I would identify those that have paid the most, okay, over the last 12, 24, 36, and 48 months, okay? Now, when you have this information, it's really valuable. You can see, okay, how they've paid. All right. Now, the thing I want to do is, if you can cherry pick this, look at term of note. Yeah, you can do that. Remain true, but some of them, the terms will be higher, some will be less. So what I would do is I would get rid of the ones that haven't been paying, that I don't see at least 12 months of continuous on the back end here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say at least 12. I'm going to say last 12 is equal to sum of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, close parentheses, boom. Okay, so it has some NAs in there. All right, I'm going to copy that formula down, though, because that NA will probably because they haven't been performing. They haven't had anybody in there for 12 months. All right, you see how that changed up? Some did good. Some didn't do so good. Some are really small. Okay? NA. Okay? Now, why did that one? Oh, because they pulled it over. That's what it is. That's weird. Control C. I'm going to take that one down. Well, still low. That's only been making payments for 6 months. So now I'm going to go and get rid of those. If I don't have 12 months of payments, I don't have 12 months of payments. Let's go ahead and delete these off. Let's say any in there. Okay. Now we could do one more thing here. Let's do number of payments, because you can basically, in the last 12, you can take this number is equal to last 12 divided by and their payment amount. So we go over here. Go all the way over to their payment amount. Boom. And it'll tell you how many payments they've made. Control C, and we'll copy that down. I know I'm going through this fast. That's why we're recording this. Control V. Okay. So now, if you're really going to buy performing notes, you don't want to buy anything below 12 months. Okay? Can we agree to that? So now I'm going to re-rank it. Now, a lot of these are 12, 7, 9, 10. Some are new origin 8, 12, 12, 7, 10, 9. Okay? 3 months. Not really exciting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to basically re-rank these. Once again, custom sort it. My data has headers, but we're going to go all the way to the back. So number of payments in the last 12 months. All right, now you can get rid of the ones that aren't truly performing. Okay. Newly originated, no. 1 payment, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.7. Anything with 6 months, I wouldn't consider it. Okay. Let's just go and delete those off. I'm not even looking at the properties on these. I just know that the payment streams don't excite me. Okay. Now, one of the things you want to look at too, so you can see basically all the way up to at least 12. Some people have been paying more in the last 12 months. They're getting caught back up and paying a little bit extra, which is kind of nice. Now, one thing you've got to be careful of is looking at the amount. When it gets beyond 14 payments, what happened? If you look back at this one, you say, okay, they paid a little bit extra in January, 676, 835, 690, 794. They paid 2,700 back in August of 19. 000 60. So they were late, so they tried to get caught back up. Okay, so they brought some skin in the game. This other one here paid 1,000, basically just paid 2 months of payments because he fell behind and got caught back up. Okay, that's not so bad. So they paid extra in the last 12 months. So now, hello, 12, 12, 12, 12. And we got to look at these. Some of these stuff that's maybe newly originated or they've been late. Now you look at the actual spreadsheet. All right. So like 9 months here, 9 months only haven't paid the last 3 months. I'm going to get rid of that because that's not a performing note. It's a non-performing note. I'm not paying 60 cents on the dollar for a non-performing note. Okay. So I'm looking for zeros. I don't mind if there's a 0, 1 or like this one here. 7 months. They haven't made payments in the last 5 months. It's not a performing note. Okay. So 515, 7 payments. What happens? So this is pretty much newly originated. Newly originated. Been on time for the 7 months it's been around. Okay, great. This one, 627. Well, they missed in December and missed in February. And it's not really performing because they're behind a little bit. So I don't like that too much because it's really less than 8 months. Okay. They just missed this running. They're basically 60 days running late. Get rid of that. Question here from somebody. No, Richard, these were all supposed to be performing notes. Is that are being sold on as performing. These are all not non-performing. You missed it. In the front, we said these are basically performing notes. Okay. It was performing. We're looking at some of these to see identify because he ranked them all as performing, but based on the payment stream, they're not all performing. Okay. And like this one right here, 9 months of payments, but they've missed. They only made a partial payment here, made $100 there. That's not really a performing note. Now, on those, you could go back and offer less than 60. Okay. But for the most part, it's not. So the thing is, why you look at the less than 12. I think at 12, it made at least 12 months of payments. Okay. It's worth looking at. So if you really wanted to be smart and really save you a little bit of headache, maybe you just get rid of everything below 12 months. Okay. And make an offer on the true performing notes. Just get rid of those. All right. Now that's narrowed it down to, drum roll please, boom, 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 53 notes, or they've paid at least 12 months of payments in the last 12 months. That's a pretty good list right there for you. Okay. Yay. Pretty good list. Now let's go back at our numbers down here. What our bid on on these 52 notes, if we were to pay 60% of UPB, is 1.5 million. And it's generating $287,000, 808 a year on this 12 months of those payments. And it averages out to a 19% yield. Okay. Now that's not too bad. Now, obviously, you're going to have some costs. The servicing costs are figured in here as far as the monthly payments. Remember, here's the thing. If you're going to board non-performing notes, that's a higher monthly cost. It's performing like we're seeing 12 months. It's basically transitioning it over. It's basically an easy thing to transition. You're going to pay some boarding fees. Sometimes you're going to negotiate those with the servicing company. In some cases, if it's with a servicing company that you like already, just keep it with them. Just a transfer fee. It's totally fine. And it's pretty simple. But now you start figuring in, okay, does this make sense? All right, these would be the ones I would make an offer on. If I want to do that, boom, boom, boom. Okay. So let me give you an example. Let's say the two here in Kansas City. Okay. Kansas City, Indiana, Youngstown, Sumter, Hattiesburg. Okay. It's not too shabby. I like that. So let's do this. Now, what I would do is then I would see if it passes the Street View test. Okay. Now, I've already mapped the whole 160 for you, but to save time tonight, I just want to go through a couple assets of what I would share. Now, if I'm buying this asset for myself, I would take literally the 60% of USB. I would save this as my sheet. I always label it the entity, whoever the seller is, and then my entity name, bids, and put the date on it. So bids 9/21/20. So they know that's the most recent offering. And I get rid of basically everything else besides just the basic information that I need. I get rid of my sheet, my columns. I'd save it as a different spreadsheet. So then I would just change this from this. I would just say 6% of USBB, and I would say bids. Okay. And I'd spend my spreadsheet in with that. So, okay, here's my bids on these 52 notes. All right. Now I'd go over here and start looking at the assets. So we got Kansas City. So let's go over here to Kansas City. All right. We're gonna boop. So Kansas City right here. We got some right there. 4 in Kansas City. That's nice. Have one realtor kind of pull comps on them all. Or you could fly up to Kansas City and drive around in a circle, basically. Hit this one, hit this one, hit this one, hit this one. Okay. So let's look at this first one, see what it looks like. This one in Kansas City, Kansas. All right. See the address a little bit there. Original balance is 36. They owe 34. I can go up and hit the satellite view so I can see from above. There you go. Take my little guy, drop him. Boop. Okay. Now, this says down here, you can see 2020 Google. All right. Let's see if we can see our, oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's that's just for Google. That's not for the actual thing. Now, here's a great example. Okay. Of what you're looking for. Street looks pretty good. Decent. All right. Well, it's okay. Yeah, it's nice across the street. But our house needs some work. Now, what we want to see, so let me go back. This is 1929, no, 28, 19. I'm going to go back and look at something here. All right, so this is, okay. Yeah, why not? So this was the loan, because the picture on it looks like it needs some work. Doesn't look like everybody's living in it, right? So this was originated in 11/30/2016. As they closed on it. First payment was January 1st. Now going back here, I just went to the spreadsheet and looked there just to verify that information. Now we know that this is an older, sorry, come on, pull it up. Looks like an older photo. So up here, the left-hand side, you can see Street View. So it'll take you down here. You click on it. All right. And this picture, the Street View picture, is down here at the bottom now. Image capture July 2011. Okay. So somebody has moved into the property, obviously after this, when they sold the property after this. And let's see if we can't, if there's another picture over here. Yeah, no. So somebody's done some work to it. You know, you get the outdoor plane stuff there. So somebody's moved in. That's not an accurate picture of the property where it is today. Okay, that's fine. Somebody's hopefully living in it. And it doesn't look bad. Somebody's making payments on it for 12 months. I'm still just taking a look at it. I wouldn't necessarily use that photo, though, to raise funds, okay, because it doesn't look that attractive, okay? So we go back to, whoops, not the batch geo. Where's my map here? Okay. There's my batch geo map. I'm going to take it out. Let's go out and try to find a better looking property there in Kansas City. Kansas City. All right, so there's that one. Here's this one. Whoop, whoop. Now you can see it's in the main living area there. Okay, if it was nothing but green grass and trees, I'd probably say no, too rural. Okay. Let's take it a little bit more, see as close as we can get. All right, so what is it? The fourth house from the street. Let's take our little yellow guy and drop him in. Let's go airborne, drop him in. Whoop, he's in. Where's my little dot? 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for my little dot, my map dot. Is that it? Oh, it's this one right here. Okay, I see this little, hard to see that little thing. So that's the house right there. Okay. Yeah, you see there it is. So nope, I would not use that one to raise funds. Once again, let's look at the photo here, see when this photo was taken. Click on the link, and this was probably back in June of 2019. Okay, now this one was June of 2019 is when this photo was taken. Is that right? Is it the fourth one from the end of the street? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So somebody might be working on that. June 2019. I still have somebody take a look because it looks like they're rehabbing their property. This stuff out there. Now they could just be living in it. If I go back to this one on Norton Avenue, if I go back to the spreadsheet, where is it here? Yeah. It's originated in 2013. So they've all been beyond this. If somebody's living in it, working it. Okay, fine. Somebody's living in it, making it look good. I'm fine with that. I take a photo. Boom. To go back here, take a screenshot. I just looked at the spreadsheet real fast. Oops, come on. All right. Somebody's living in it, making payments. I'm happy with that. I just don't like this stuff they got in that road there. Let's look at the street view. See if there's been a better picture along the way. So if I click on street view, we just went back in time. Time traveled right there. Back to 2007 when Google had crappy images. June 2011. That's a better looking property. Okay. August 2014. Whoop. They were already storing stuff on the front. July 2015. Been storing a little bit more stuff on the front. They like to store stuff on the front porch there, y'all. And then we're back to where we're at today. Okay. Not the most desirable, but somebody's been paying on for at least 12 months. Okay. We'll see what our reel says when they drive by all four of these assets. So that's what I'm trying to get. If that would work out good, that was a good looking property, boom, screenshot it. Hey, here's a deal that I'm working on. I post it. Hey, any Kansas City investors want to partner on a deal? Got a deal pretty good. Now, the thing is, if it's returning an 18% yield, you want to talk with people. You don't want to pay 12% on this. I don't even think you want to do 50%. You'd want to find investors. This is why we start marketing ahead of time. They're looking for 6 to 8%. If they're not active investing, then don't pay them 10%. Because if they're not going to go out and do it for themselves, you don't need to pay them double digit. Okay. So here's the thing that I would go back to one step here, going back to my spreadsheet. All right. So going back here, and I'm going to undo Kansas and pull all these other 58 ones for us here. All right. So you've got basically your 60% of UP bids. Okay. Now let's add in let's add in a column insert to the left. Let's say you get money at 8% money, okay? Equals this times 0.08. Control C, you drag that down. So if you're borrowing this money from investors, Control D, that gives you what your money costs, 8% money costs are. Interest only, okay? So there you go. Your profit on an annual basis, if you borrowed 8%, borrowed 21 grand at 8%, you're paying 1680, but you're technically yielding, you're bringing in 4788. Let's add in one more column here. We'll say net profits. Obviously before your boarding, but to give you a rough idea, is equal to your 12 months P&I minus what you got to pay your money. And there you go, your net profits. Control C. All the way down. Boom. We're going to auto sum this up. There you go. If you're paying 8% on 1.5 million, you're paying 120 grand a year, and you're netting above your money cost 167,000 a year. Hey, not too shabby, huh, everybody? That makes sense. You understand where I got that from? Because this, if you bought it at 60% and they're paying, continue to pay what they do, they're 12 months P&I, not PITIS, principal and interest. That's the part you get. Okay. So they'd be bringing in total, they'd be paying in a total 287,808. If you borrowed 1.504 million exactly at 8% interest rate from different investors, IRA, whatever, that's 120 grand a year paying out to that. And your profit is the difference between the 287 and the 120. And that's the 167. So we could do one thing further, because if you're performing transfer costs, a little bit of that, let's just say costs. We'll just say cost, transfer costs. All right, we'll just say it costs you, let's just say $500 per asset, okay? A one-time, basically, it's not going to cost you, you pull BPOs, external BPOs, O&E reports, marketing. So your transfer costs, auto sum that all up, are going to be roughly 26 grand the first year. So there you go. You make 167,000, pay your transfer costs, recording, boarding fees, because you're not going to have to values because these people are living in the property. Boom. You still make 140 grand your first year, then 167 a year after that. So if you're interested, like I said beforehand, I'm not the one selling these. A student of mine is. If you're interested in potentially some of the properties, you're jumping in there, drop me an email at scott@WeCloseNotes. I'll make a transfer for you guys, and you can deal directly with them there. She's working to take this whole portfolio down, and is looking for a little bit of some money from some people to come in and buy some of the assets, and she can retain the rest. So as always, drop me an email at scott@WeCloseNotes.com. I hope this was valuable for you guys. That's what I have for you. You'd submit the bids, start raising the capital, reaching out, and then wait to see what the bids come back accepted. And then looking, obviously, at your due diligence. You're not going to pay a penny for due diligence until you have under contract. It means you're not paying for BPOs. You're not paying for property inspection reports. You're not paying for O&Es until you have a signed contract in place. There we go. Everything will be automated, evaluated. But you could start sharing. I mean, literally, you've got 50 assets here, decent photos, talking about the area. You got some in some areas here, okay? If you just like a specific state, okay, pull the Ohio or the Indiana ones and just focus on those. And honestly, if you're going to buy in a state, you might as well jump on a freaking plane, fly to Southwest with your mask, and drive around a weekend and look at your assets that you're looking at bidding. That could come in really handy for you, okay? David asked a really good question. David Straley asked, do you typically believe the seller if he tells you that he wants 60% of UBB? Do you typically try to work it down? Yeah, I would try to work it down in a couple of fashions. Now, the seller wants to sell all of these at once, okay? All right. So, yes, I might come in and say, some of these aren't. I would give you, I would work it down a little bit. But if they're performing, I'm picking the cream of the crop here, everybody. I'm picking the cream of the crop here. I'm going to pay you 60% because it still makes sense. Now, can I offer 58? Could I go to 55? Yeah, I could do that. But if the numbers make sense, great. They make sense. Now, if I can get it at 55, my money costs go down, but my profits go up too, obviously. Okay, David? Yeah, they offer, but some of it may be hard and fast. Like we've seen, there was one tape that came out. The guy had a floor, and then he had offering. He really wanted it, but he had a reserve price that you couldn't come in below that. And some of them had a lot of equity, some had values, other things were pretty close to the, like the full reserve price was close to what the unpaid balance was because it's performing, but the value was a lot higher. So it's a working thing. This is why every spreadsheet's a little bit different. You have to kind of know at it and look at it. And we'll go more into depth on this weekend at the virtual note buying workshop. So I'd love to see you guys there this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and be a part of the 3-day class. Like I said, if you get signed up, you got those bonuses. If you get signed up soon, I can literally get you the email out with a link to the week 1 homework. You can be on Wednesday nights, week 2 coaching call, and get on the leadership board, get rocking and rolling. So hopefully you guys will get rocking, and we can really knock some things out here before year end for you guys. But anyway, if you want to get signed up, go to notebuyingfordummies.com. That'll take you straight to the page. Notebuyingfordummies.com. It's $5.99. That's good for you, your spouse, or business partner. And it was all done via Zoom like this. So, all right. I don't have anything else for you. I think that's a great upfront there aspect. Hopefully that was valuable for you guys, kind of seeing my mentality to find the real deal. The 50 I want to focus. Now I say this, I make my bids, and it comes back, I can always go back and uncut. I can always go back and add some more. I can go back, look at some of the other things. But if I really want to focus the cream of the crop, if you're looking for performing notes to pay your bills, guess what? Now what stands between you and $167,000 of annual income is what? Marketing to investors, getting the word out on what you're doing. Okay, it's 13 grand a month. For most of you, that's more than enough than what you need to retire on right now, to basically retire. How hard would you work for that? You know what I mean, Gene? You know what I mean. All right. Glad you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully we'll see you this Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Note Buying for Dummies workshop. Otherwise, have a great evening. Thanks for being on Note Night America. Go out, take some action, everybody, and we'll see you all at the top.